So guys, I told you in some past videos that I was planning on doing some competition, just something light, not plan on going pro or anything like that. Although, if and when I go back to Thailand, I do plan on doing some actual Thai boxing matches there, and those are actually pro. However, they aren't considered so over here as to you being a pro fighter. You would still be considered an amateur back on this side of the world, which I don't know why. But anyway, so I was interested in looking at some training. I went through one of my family members' friends who has his own Kyokushin karate school, which isn't exactly relevant to me because I don't practice Japanese systems of fighting other than, some rudimentary judo, which I would like to go back to and actually complete that training. Which, because it was my first style, I delved into when I started my martial arts journey almost 35 plus years ago. So, in any case, um, I go there, and in good faith, I would like to get to know more because the head instructor, who I believe is a seventh degree black belt in Kyokushin karate, has connections with folks in the martial arts community, like MMA, and potentially some folks who actually do stuff in Hollywood. So my plans was to go there just to show that I have proficiency in martial arts, not that I was trying to be some big badass type guy or whatever, right? But unfortunately, that family member, my cousin, decided to hype it up as an actual fight in within his little circle, and it definitely was not going to be that way. Nor was I planning on being a pro MMA fighter, which was another thing he was telling the guys who I was planning on meeting, that I had plans on becoming a professional fighter. No, I don't. Wanting to do some fights to build up my credibility and being a pro fighter are not one and the same. Okay? Sorry for the camera moving about. That's just me moving around as I'm being expressive. When Mrs. Contrarian helps me do this stuff, you're gonna see a huge uptick in video quality. So just to let you know, those great videos posted in the Philippines, um, of me doing stuff or of me training in other countries that I've posted in the past that you guys should enjoy if you haven't seen already. That's her work, not mine. Mine is the shoddy stuff you're seeing right now. So, off that tangent. So I go there in good faith. I talk with the Shihan. He's apparently a Shihan because he's a seventh degree black belt in Kyokushin karate. Karate doesn't impress me, but whatever. And he tells me more about his school and how they fought, in tournaments, usually full contact tournaments because that's what Kyokushin is known for, full contact sparring. Excuse me, full contact fighting. So it's like, cool. And I was like, well, and he was asking why I wanted to be a pro MMA fighter, which left me a little uh, bewildered because that's not what I said I wanted to do. I was like, no, I just wanted to get a few fights under my belt for the sake of credibility. And they said they was gonna test me out. I could spar them. And he was like, how do you want this to go? And I was like, let's just keep it light. I was like, I just wanted to show you what I know, but I had no intentions on making this um something, you know, confrontational or aggressive in any sort of way. And he was like, yeah, I agree. He said, plus, um, you know, with him, like he said, this we call this school the school of urban survival or something like that, and like they they practice everything for for realistic self defense or whatever that case may be. But he he was they were all little guys, so they had a small man complex, to be quite honest. Because he was like, well, if I'm sparring someone with you, like you, he said, if I get hit hard, I'm gonna go into survival mode or whatever that means. I'm like, well, basically, so that's everyone, because pretty much everyone is bigger than him. His son is even smaller, and then his friend is about my size, and he's like, well, yeah, he can go toe to toe with you, and I'm like, cool, whatever. Let's just spar. Okay. But they were being very braggadocio, and I don't understand it. Apparently, according to one of my other friends, he said that's a often a problem with some of these karate guys. Like they try to act all tough and stuff, but they wouldn't come to an MMA gym talking like that. According to him, I can't say. I don't know. Okay, but in any case, so I'm thinking we're gonna spar, but unfortunately, I don't bring my own equipment. My cousin had brought me a whole bunch of set of new equipment to spar there instead of my old stuff that I had. But some of the stuff didn't fit, particularly my mouth guard. So I sent him to go get my stuff from my home, um, within my set of equipment that I had. So I just kind of warmed up and waited first, but it was taking him so long that they was like, "Well, let's just start sparring." I'm like, "Without a mouth guard?" And he's like, "We can just keep it light." I'm like, so it was, that was so I'm already getting several red flags here. One is the whole I can't light spar with bigger people without getting triggered to go into survival mode. That's a red flag. Second red flag is let's spar without mouth guards. Third was they wanted to do it in MMA gloves, so I had to take off my. I didn't take off my hand wraps after I'd already wrapped them, but I had to put away my boxing gloves and work with some little hand-me-down MMA gloves. They were falling apart. They literally had to tape them together to hold them in place, which didn't hold during my sparring. By the way, they fell apart. And try to avoid any sort of head, uh, you know, contact with my head. I was like, well, can we just all establish that we like our teeth, right? And they all start laughing. I'm like, I'm serious. Shit. um, and it quickly became kind of stupid. Like it was all right at first, but then the same guy who was saying, I want to let's keep it light because if I'm sparring people bigger than me, it'll trigger me into survival mode, and I'll start going hard like I'm in an actual fight. And this same guy is now like, well, if you're not going to make real contact with me, I'm not going to react to your strikes and kicks. I'm like, okay. I thought we were keeping it light, and I thought that just simply showing where I would have got you should be sufficient. But no, that wasn't good enough. Then the same guy who was supposed to be who's my size, so they're like, oh, he can give you some work. This guy wants to go bare knuckled for whatever reason. I refused to do that. I kept my gloves on, but he went bare knuckled and kept going. And he had some proficiency, but again, I was pulling kicks and stuff like that, which wasn't the favor wasn't returned. I'll say that much, because he would go in for the takedown and then move into a choke or submission. I didn't know we were doing chokes or submissions. That wasn't something that was brought up prior to us starting sparring. When I think of freestyle sparring, I'm thinking of it more in the capacity of kickboxing, Muay Thai, or whatever, where you can do throws or takedowns, but generally you let the person get up and you restart. But no, he went down for the submissions and the chokes. Okay, fine, but it was a little too much. Like I shouldn't have this much. I shouldn't have so many scratches and bruises about on me from light sparring. Mind you, light sparring. In case you guys are unfamiliar with light sparring, medium sparring, hard sparring. Let's start with hard sparring. Even hard sparring is not fighting. Hard sparring, means you're going 100% at the body, but maybe like 50 to 70% to the head. Like you're never giving it your all to the head in sparring because you're not trying to knock a person out. Medium sparring, is what it sounds like. It's you're giving hard blows to the body and light, very light punches and kicks to the head. Okay, and light sparring, or sometimes called technical sparring, is just maybe sometimes an exchange of techniques, like showing each other's moves, little light contact, generally little to no head kicks. So that's light sparring. Um, which at least they stuck to that part as far as there was like little to no kicks or punches to the head. Instead, they would just show where they could have caught me, and likewise, I did the same. But because it was like sparring, I was doing that to the lower parts as well, because the way I train, I would hurt you with some of these leg kicks. Like I'm trained to do leg kicks as a knockout. So when they're complaining that I'm not making contact, like not making contact because I'm not trying to injure you in light sparring. So if I do a inside leg kick, cut kick, whatever, I'm not going to do it so to actually injure you. So for some reason, the same guy who was bare knuckled sparring me decided to come out of his shirt, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like this is sparring. Like why are you?" I just didn't understand. And to make matters worse, another red flag was like, so when we were rolling, so we switched from sparring to rolling, which we should have just, if we were going to go from sparring to rolling, we should have kept the submission fighting out of the freestyle sparring in the first place. But then we went into rolling, and mind you, I'm sparring all three of these guys back to back to back. They get a rest, I don't get a rest for like almost 2 hours. Um, we're rolling, and like I have my ground game is not there. I train mostly on my own every day, so I have no ability to ground fight when I don't get to practice it. Like at best, I do sprawling. Like I practice sprawling when I'm doing my shadow kickboxing. But outside of sprawling and doing like little things like sweeps and arm bars and stuff like that, there's no grappling here. There's no grappling. I know how to clench up. So when we were doing clinch work, I could do that. But again, they were getting weird when we were doing the clinch work, saying, "Oh, you need to do it like this and like that." And I'm like, I don't do karate. That's like when I'm doing clinch work, I'm thinking Greco-Roman wrestling. I'm not thinking karate. So, and it was just like it got braggadocious. Well, if I have you in a clinch, if you want to do that Muay Thai clinch, I can do this and I can do that. Yeah, okay, I can do this and do that too. Whatever. But when we're rolling, like I said, the guy would take it to 100, but he was saying later that it was a good thing that I didn't strike him while rolling, because if so, he would have took my head off or whatever. I'm like, dude, first of all, it's rolling, so I didn't think we're gonna strike in the capacity of just purely rolling. And two, if I did, you would be the asshole. You would be the asshole for doing so. So, not a great experience. They also did a little bit of chisao with me, which I don't know where they got chisao from, or what they consider chisao. It would go from chisao into like sparring at the end. So that was the last part. But like I must have, between the rolling, the sparring, and the chisao sparring, I must have fought like 15 rounds or so back to back. I got a few chances to catch my breath in between the three of them. And so they want me to come back to, go over their techniques. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a Kyokushin guy to go for go like into full contact tournaments. I mean, if that's the case, I can just go somewhere else. Like, I've already found a good Muay Thai gym very close to me, and seriously considering just doing that, which will prepare me for fighting, the type of fighting I want to do anyway. Um, but like, they want me to come back and spar with them some more. They'll show me some of their techniques. I'm not interested in learning karate techniques, to be frank. And also, they want me to roll with a guy who's like about 6'2", 300+ pounds. I'm like, what would that, what would that help me with? I'm not exactly sure. People who've done judo, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, silat, if you're watching this, you want to leave in the comments the advantages of actually fighting someone over twice my size, go ahead. But I don't see where the advantage would be for me. According to that same head instructor, he was saying that it's good because small guys have the advantage when rolling because they can use their leverage. That is so not true. I've addressed that on this channel before, that small men do not have the advantage in combat sports. There's no combat sport where being the smaller guy is the advantage. That's just not the case. You have to respect strength and size everywhere when it comes to sports, particularly combat sports and fighting. That's just not the case. What may be the case is that the quicker guy can be more lithe and then use that to his advantage while rolling a bigger guy. But that just means he has to work twice as hard as the bigger guy because he has a size disadvantage. That's what that is. So the guy has a small man complex, I guess, because that just didn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to be nice because he might watch this, but some of it just didn't gel with me. Like, I'll go back and see what's up, but again, I'm not trying to become a Kyokushin guy, because I believe at one point while we were there, they were about to award me a white belt with a black stripe. I'm not sure what that means. You guys can, again, in the comments, let me know what that means, if that's the first belt in Kyokushin karate, or a slightly higher beginner belt in Kyokushin karate. I honestly don't know, but it wasn't the greatest experience, and a week later I still have the bruises, the sore throat, the cuts all over my body because the guys fought me bare knuckled. So next time I go and I spar, if anyone wants to fight me bare knuckled, I'm wearing my protective headgear. I don't care, because I'm not damaging all this right here and just to spar. Like, if any of this is gonna get damaged, it's gonna be for money. Okay, this doesn't get damaged unless it comes with a purse, a fighting purse, that is. All right, but I will have that footage coming soon. I still need to edit it because the file's a little bit too large, so I need to put the different videos together, edit them, and make it watchable for you guys. Okay, thanks.
Eye contact. But when you go to the ground, you gonna get like 5 down. Go. 3 punch. 6. 7. Go. Nobody move. Move. Here we go. Returning.